There ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away.
Okay, we're live on YouTube.
Boom, boom, boom.
Copyright strike.
Yeah. Wasn't more than 6 seconds.
This time when she's gone.
Going live on Facebook.
You know what other song I like?
What's that?
Whoa, Black Betty, Bama Lambo. That's like another song that when it plays, I just sing it. I don't know the words to that one as much because I know the Bama Lama part.
Mhm. Who sings it? Is that Mountain?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I don't even remember who that is.
But then it's like, she's a some down in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Whoa, Black Betty, Bama Lambo. Whoa,
Yeah.
Black Betty.
Yeah, I don't remember who sings that.
But it's a
I wanted
sweet
to say
song.
like Mountain or something like that, but that's not right.
It's just a sweet song.
Okay, here we go.
Which
From
Ain't No
Birmingham,
Sunshine do you
Bama
like
Lambo, way
best?
down in Alabama.
Which one do you like the best?
Here's to good friends.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. That's sort of an oaky afterbirth.
What was that?
She did tell me to get a beer and some cheese fries
some
over at
cheese
Eskimo
fries.
Joe's.
That's very nice, lovely. I only hope you feel this way when I'm done. Because I could destroy this night in 2 seconds.
Why is that funny?
Well, I think it's a bit funny to be trying to define nothing.
Smooth as a bourbon on a summer day. Strong as a peated scotch in the winter night. This is a fair warning. The Catholic Man Show is about to begin.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
Flossing. Just flossing over here. I'm hip.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side, so raise your glass. Adam Minahan here, sitting with David Niles. We got Juan on the buttons. Extremely grateful for Juan.
So grateful.
And in gratitude, I would like to say I'm thankful for Jim being here as well. Hey, let me tell you guys, Jim has been throwing out all of the stuff that you guys have been ordering on thecatholicmanshow.com/store. He just like throws it out
He
there
just ships it to you.
within like days.
It's
He's
ridiculous.
been on top of it.
He's like a machine.
We just launched our new Catholic Man Show stocking cap, beanie. There's many different words, I guess, for this. At the very bottom there, Juan. Yeah, boom, right here. Leather patched. We just launched this. I know it's not the best timing. It's starting to warm up. It's still cold here. I don't know about you guys, but where you are, but it's very good. No, we don't know.
It's
Anyway,
weird that you can see my body.
We just launched these. So anyway, you can go to thecatholicmanshow.com/store and check those out as well. But thank you, Jim, for all of your work for the Catholic Man Show.
Mucho.
Dave, bro.
Yo.
We just finished the Carlo series.
It was so good.
It was so
phenomenal.
good. However,
Phenomenal.
man, it was exhausting.
It was a lot of work.
To record. I mean, we were recording
three nights a week.
3 nights a week, and 2 of those nights were like 2 hours plus each night.
Right, yeah.
So we have over 18 hours of content.
It's incredible.
With Carlo Broussard.
It really was awesome. And I got out of it exactly what I was hoping I would.
Mm-hmm.
Like a knowledge of the 5 ways. I understand them now. Carlo did such a good job about, because I have 0 philosophical training.
What?
I know. People think like, oh, Dave, you're so smart. You must be like a trained philosopher or something. And I say no.
Wow.
This is just, I just ooze. I just give off that vibe. It's all a front. It's a false front.
It's impressive.
Yeah, but so with 0 philosophical training, Carlo was able to bring it down to my level and make me understand it.
Yeah. Over 18 hours of content. There was 9 courses, all with the handouts, exclusive for our patrons. You can go to patreon.com/thecatholicmanshow. $10 a month or more, you have access to it. But we're not like letting the foot off the pedal right now. We have another course being made currently.
Yes.
So if you are looking to join the Catholic Man Show's support team, you can go to Patreon and support us, and you have access to all this stuff. So,
and you should do that. You should totally do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're going to be going to the Oklahoma Men's Conference.
Here in Oklahoma. Yep.
This month. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, we're going to be one of the people actually present at the conference.
They have a few that'll be there, like a minimal amount that'll be there in actual, and then they have a bunch of virtual. You know what they did, which I think was brilliant? They had all the guys from different parishes for the men's clubs like host a virtual deal at their parish.
It's a good idea.
So that way there's still the community aspect.
Yeah.
So you get the knowledge from the speakers, you still get a community aspect.
Because that's part of the men's group gig is
right. The conferences are like getting together with other Catholic men.
Yeah, the camaraderie.
Right. So I thought that was really smart on their part. I'm really excited about hosting that and being a part of that.
Because you want to talk about the talks afterwards,
right? Yeah. And then we're also, Dave, are we allowed to talk about what we're doing this weekend?
I think so.
Why don't you?
Okay, so we're going to be one of the presenters at the Seek conference this weekend, specifically for the location in Dallas. How
does that work? Do you know?
I know that they're making it more regional. I'm unsure exactly the logistics behind everything, whether everyone is getting the same video feed or if they're having, some speakers present for some regions and different ones for others. I know that we will be live with the audience in Dallas.
That'll be fun.
We'll be doing like kind of like a show, putting together a similar to our regular format, right? Mm-hmm. Except they'll be present, sort of like as if we were doing a Skype call with them. So we'll be able to hear the boo, like the jeering. They will not be able to throw vegetables or fruit at us.
Grateful,
because I don't think they will be. It'd be a long toss from Tulsa to Dallas. So, but anyway, it's gonna be awesome. I'm very excited about it.
We've been wanting to do Seek conferences for a while. We had the opportunity last year, the year before.
Yeah, but it was on New Year's. It just didn't. We had family commitments,
Right, so it didn't work out. So we're excited to be a part of that this year as well. Seek Conference 2021. I'm sure if you just Google Seek Conference, you'll figure that out.
And probably you already know what it is.
Right, most people do. Okay, so this evening we're gonna have a little bit of something different than we normally have. We're having brandy this evening.
A little brandy.
This is the Christian Brothers brandy. It's the very smooth, the VS. So brandy is typically not
calling it VS makes it seem like it must be something more important than just very smooth.
Right, but it's not.
It's like, this is the RG version. What's that stand for? Really good.
Yeah,
the really good one.
Really good one. Yeah. So we're having some brandy this evening. Typically, brandy is an after dinner drink.
A digestivo, as they might say.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was the drink of choice for Winston Churchill. When he was going off on his when he was going off to be a journalist for the war, he would always suggest, like he would put in his contract that they would be shipping him 2 bottles of brandy every week.
Nice.
Yes.
All right.
And a box of cigars.
Right.
So, that's Winston Churchill's.
Seems like he'd go through a box of cigars in a couple days.
Yeah.
What, do you smoke like 7 or 8 a day, right?
I think they said on average, overall, he smoked approximately 250,000 cigars in his lifetime, which would
on average 250,000 in his lifetime.
Roughly, I'm sorry. Roughly,
if you average his,
roughly,
if you take his daily average, it would be that much.
Be about that much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so.
Because I'm sure there were some 10 days, some maybe only 4 cigar days. I'm sure there were no 0 days. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, let's not be absurd.
Yeah, we're being
So we're on the Lord's team,
the winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers, Jim. So this, like I said, this is called the Christian Brothers brandy. Is it good?
Yeah.
It's only about $22.
Yeah,
for
so
the bottle.
Brandy is distilled wine.
Mm-hmm.
Jim's making terrible faces over there.
He's not a big fan. Jim, you're not a big fan?
Jim, there's some tequila down there if you'd rather have that. Feel free. He hates it. Oh, Jim. It's the worst face I've ever seen you make.
It's yucky.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's not like my favorite.
I'm so easygoing. Like there are no foods that I don't really like. You know
what
what
it tastes
I mean?
like to me is it tastes too much like cough syrup with alcohol. It's like they take cough syrup.
I like cough syrup.
And you add alcohol to it and mix it up, and that's what it tastes like, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Which is really too bad because brandy has such a wealthy sound to it. You know, like, oh, I've made it because I drink brandy.
I picked
and
it.
I think that there is I know that there is some super expensive brandy.
Absolutely. But I thought, like, hopefully this would be, because some people reach out to us and say, like, hey, you guys always do expensive whiskeys or beers or something like that. Like, hook us up with some reviews on cheaper drinks.
We do a lot of more expensive one now because we've already had
a lot of the cheaper ones.
So many. I mean, we've done over 300 episodes, and there's a lot of beer in there, too. It's not like we've done 300 whiskeys.
Right.
But we've hit a lot of the good. I mean, there's a lot of cheap whiskey, but you don't want to drink most of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? We try to only have drinks that are worthy of a good conversation.
Right.
You know
Which is
what I mean?
also why I also picked the Christian Brothers brandy. Like, I liked the name of it.
That was probably just their name? I mean, I don't think that they're probably not naming themselves like as Christians.
No. It's their like.
You will know we are Christians by our brandy, by our brandy.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't think that's what they're doing.
No. So it dates back to the 1800s. So I thought, well, maybe they'll be good, but it's okay. It's not something.
Just okay.
It's not something.
Yeah.
I would.
It does not offend me the way it offends Jim.
Right. So.
Jim was offended. I saw his face.
We're picking up some new listeners. We're about to go on some new radio stations as well, and so just to let you guys know, if there are, if this is your first time listening, you can if you Google Catholic Answers Focus drinking, you'll be able to find. We were on with Cy Kellett, and we talked about drinking in moderation and the importance of knowing thyself and enjoying things for what they're made for. And so anyway, if this is your first time listening, you're wondering why we're drinking, you can just Google that and we'll be able to hash that out later. So Dave, do we have a gear today?
You know what? The last 10 seconds I've been thinking to myself, I don't have a gear for today, but I did come up with an idea in the last 10 seconds that maybe we'll do, maybe we won't.
Okay. We'll see.
We'll see.
Before we started the show, we were talking about favorite songs, and having a favorite song.
You actually said, you shocked me when you said that's my favorite song.
Yes.
And I thought, wow, you have a favorite song.
Because a lot of people don't.
I don't.
Right? I don't have a definitive favorite song, and I have said this numerous times to Haley. This is my favorite song.
And I happen to be singing it.
Yeah, you were singing it, which is what spurred the. But yeah, a lot of people don't have favorite songs.
Yeah, you're right. There's too many choices.
But I do. Ain't no sunshine.
Good on you, man. So good on you.
We may have a gear, or we may just jump into the topic after this break. We'll be right back.
So this is the idea that I just thought of. This is not a man gear per se, but it's more of discussion of gear in the house. I have a Nest camera at home, okay, and I've had it in the girls' room for years, last 5 years. Mm-hmm. Just using it as a monitor. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not a monitor per se. It doesn't turn on when it hears noise. You know what I mean? But it's worked great because you can go back and review history and see it takes snapshots when it sees movement and stuff, just like other kind of security cameras. I recently took it out of their room because there's a service you can pay for. I think it's $10 a month or something, or maybe $20 a month. I just remember thinking that's way more than I would ever pay to get the the video recorded 24/7 that I would have access to. Mm-hmm. But I still know it's being recorded. You know, I don't know that it's not being recorded. And I realized this is in their room. You know, they change clothes in here. You know, and I'm possibly risking my children being on some. I mean, how do I know the people running Nest are trustworthy? I don't know who they are. I don't get notifications when they hire somebody new with a copy of their background check.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so I took it out. Maybe we could have just not coming down on any side, but just a discussion, because it was something that I had never even, I didn't even think of to think about. But
that brand goes right to the cloud.
Right, but
if you're paying for the recording.
Right, that's what I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if it does, but I don't know that it doesn't. You know what I mean? So I thought maybe we could just have a conversation about that, because I think a lot of people just don't even know to have thought about that. Like as a way of keeping their children safe. We don't have to do that. That was just something I thought of.
I'm kind of agnostic on the whatever.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Because we can fill a segment, and it'll be good.
Okay.
I think
we could probably just even talk about it for a minute, and then we can probably just, we don't even have to wait. We could probably get into the topic even.
Yeah, if that's the way it goes.
Okay.
And you bring a woodworker.
I'll do it.
Yeah, he does.
No, you do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it before he has the opportunity.
One's like, no, he has it set up that way. You listen to the producer.
I'm gonna do it. I'm not letting him cover up my face where my body is showing again. It needs to be so that it either covers the whole person, like the fact you can see my body from here down. It's like, okay,
that is funny.
It's like, yeah. Yes,
my best view.
Right.
All right, let's roll one.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles, here with Adam Minahan. We're drinking some Christian Brothers brandy. It's getting mixed reviews here in the studio today. Everything from okay to terrible. It's kind of a departure from our typical vote tally. This segment is brought to you by the Catholic Man Show.
No, it's not.
You're right. This segment is brought to you by the Catholic Woodworker.
Yes.
Another great Catholic apostolate out there. Go to CatholicWoodworker.com. Promo code TCMS for 10% off all purchases over there. And you should do that because they have a lot of great stuff.
Crucifixes, rosaries,
right there.
home altars. Jonathan Conrad, right there. Boom.
If you just want to watch videos of Jonathan Conrad, that's available at the site. So anyway, and honestly, I really do use Catholic Woodworker rosary every day, and it's just way better than other rosaries. It just is.
I have multiple Catholic
It doesn't fall
Woodworker.
apart. I've been using it for years. It doesn't even get loose,
Yeah.
Sometimes
Jim has his as well.
Yep. Anyway.
We all get our rosaries at Catholic Woodworker.
We do, because we're Catholic snobs like that. We want the best. Look, I'm not going to use cheap rosary. Okay?
It's my weapon. I don't use cheap weapons.
Right. That's right. I'm not. Anyway. So, man gear for today is more of a man not gear. It's about gear not to possibly have, or just to at least consider what to have in your house.
Sure.
Let me just tell a story about something I recently did, and some people might say that I'm going overboard, and maybe I am. I think that is possible that I am, but nonetheless, this is what I did. I've had a Nest camera in my house for the last 5 years. I've just been using it when our oldest daughter was born. Instead of getting a baby monitor, per se, that had a handheld unit, that turns on when it hears sound, the classic baby monitor.
Sure.
I just got a Nest camera, and we put it in there. The video on it is really great. It's a good camera, and I really loved it. And about a month ago, I took it out. Because I realized that this thing is videoing all the time, and and it's sending this video possibly. Honestly, the thing is, I don't know if it is or if it isn't. Is it sending video to the cloud, to the Nest cloud? I think maybe that it is, because I can go back. I don't pay the service. You can pay a monthly fee to have the video recorded for you and make it available, on the app. The app was, there's nothing about the product I don't like. The app works great, all this stuff, but I don't pay for it. I can still go back and see screenshots, like when it sees movement happening, okay? And so I realized I don't know who's working at the Nest Corporation. In fact, it's owned by Google now. It's a Google company. I don't know whether the people working there are trustworthy. Are they virtuous? I certainly don't get notifications when they hire new people who are the ones who have authority to monitor these different videos, because there is somebody in the corporation who can turn on any camera, look at any camera at any time. There is certainly somebody who can do that. I don't know who that person is, and I don't know what they're like. I don't know what they believe. I certainly didn't get their background check, right? So it occurred to me that I could be putting my children at risk. This is their room. They sleep in there. They change clothes in there. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of opportunity in the wrong hands for them to be exposed as children, as people. And we all know that once something is on the internet, it's there forever. It's almost impossible to have something completely removed. So I took it out because my children are older where first of all, I don't even need a monitor. If they were still a baby, I wouldn't be worried about that, right? Because babies are different. But now that I have my daughter, she's going to be 6 in April. So it was just something that I had never even considered. But the world that we live in today is a different world than when we were growing up. And, I do think about stuff when it comes to webcams, just the webcam on your computer. I don't actually worry about hackers turning on my webcam and watching. And it's like, great, you're going to get a nice view of that wall.
Right.
And it's like, heaven forbid that a hacker be watching that wall. I don't actually worry about that. I know that it's possible, and that the technological protocol, safety protocol, just, like either put a lid over the camera or, something, because you don't know when it gets turned on. But I've thought about that, but I had never really thought about it when it came to what am I putting in my kids' rooms, and as the father, I know that it's my responsibility to keep them safe from stuff. And do I think anything bad is going to happen? No, I don't. But if something did happen, it would be because I
allowed it.
I put the gateway in their room. I directly put them in harm's way. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this.
So as a dad who now I have 4 children now, I have gone away from how I thought of when I had a kid 1. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going to happen. And so I was like, give me all the gadgets and gizmos.
Let's make this easier.
Yeah. And as time has progressed, I am more very minimalistic when it comes to what you need for your children. In fact, when it comes to toys, when it comes to clothes, when it comes to almost everything when it comes with kids, I think most of it is a scam. I think it's mostly like they try to tell you that you need this and you really don't. I don't think
like a baby wipe warmer.
You don't need that. And I actually don't think you need a monitor. I don't think you need a monitor.
No, in fact, I know you don't. We didn't have one. David Jr., we actually just got one for Christmas. But, we went 6 months. The first 6 months. That's when you would need a monitor without one. And also, when you're a brand new parent, you freak out when your kid starts crying.
Right.
You think like, oh, he's crying.
Yes.
Somebody go help him.
Right.
And then by even kid number 2, but certainly kid number 3, and I can tell you for sure on kid number 4.
Right.
It's like, is the baby crying? Yeah. Are you going to go up there? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll wait. Yeah. It's not an urgent cry.
She's been crying for 10 minutes. Okay,
right. So I just I don't think you even need one.
You don't need a monitor. You do not need a monitor.
I think that if we focused more on not having stuff for your
Right.
kids. Your
I
kids,
agree.
as they grow older, they're happier with less stuff. They're more grateful for the things that they have.
Yeah.
Which will be a perfect segue into our topic this evening. But they have a sense of responsibility for things that they do own.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed when my kids have had a lot of toys, they take almost zero responsibility for the things that they own. They'll leave it outside. They'll leave it out. They will lose it very easily. Now, if they only have one of whatever it is, if they only have one action figure, if they only have one set of Legos, if they only have, whatever that is, or a few.
Yeah, they're going to treat it. They're going to treat it better, right?
Treat it better.
Sure.
And I found that they don't get anxiety on what do I play with, or they end up saying if they have too many things, they just say I don't want to play with any of them. But if they have one or just a little, not as many, they will go play with that more.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That probably didn't answer your question.
That's not.
But,
I mean, that's a good thing. I agree with, but it doesn't actually.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I think that a lot of people should think about that. I think that's a good thing.
That's
to
all
think
I
about.
want to. I'm not trying to tell anybody.
But it's
I'm
something-
not coming even down on a side in this because, like I said, I could be overreacting.
Right.
For all I know, that the companies like this, Nest in particular, it's just the one I have, that they have very strict rules about not recording stuff.
Right.
That they only record those screenshots and that, I can see them for 3 hours.
And it's important to be a protector of your family.
Right.
Be prudent in your decisions and what you do. But
just like the world is changing, here's another thing I've thought about that I stopped doing. Google Photos. I know that I have sacrificed many things, opportunities for virtue on the altar of convenience. Okay? Google, everything is so convenient that Google offers you, all of their free services, right? One of the things that I really like is Google Photos, right? And it's not going to be free for very much longer. But one thing that I had done is said, oh, here's a picture of, I told it, anytime I take a picture of my kids, move it into this separate album that I have automatically shared with my parents and Pamela's parents. So if I take a picture of the kids, they can, we can all share these photos together, right? It was really great. Until I realized I have given Google facial recognition rights over my children. And so now I have possibly taken away their right in the future to opt out of facial recognition. That someday, as an adult, they may want to make that decision on their own, whether or not they choose to engage in the digital world in a way that is that intrusive. Because you don't know what's it gonna be like in the future.
Yeah.
And so I turned all that off. I don't know what's gonna happen with that kind of rules and laws, but it freaked me out. The whole deplatforming thing really freaked me out. And so I think as dads, especially, we need to be the ones who are making these decisions about the safeguards we put in our house. We do the same thing in other ways, but I think we need to realize that the digital world needs to be guarded. I mean, and we know that already, but in more ways than we think.
Sure. Cool. We're going to talk about gratitude this evening.
Yes.
Being grateful. We'll be right back.
So I put together these notes on gratitude, and then before I came over today, it's I'm just going to look up a couple more things, just as a refresher. And it wasn't until I got here that I realized I looked up generosity. I was reading all these great articles, thinking, I can't believe I didn't come across this article when I was putting the notes together. I came really across some excellent articles. Nice. And I was I've got to remember that point. For that's a good point. I can't believe I didn't have this in the notes. That's so obvious. And I got over here, and when you said we're talking about gratitude, it's dang it.
This is your topic.
I was doing research this evening on generosity. It's anyway, it's just funny. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
It's just something funny I did. I do a lot of funny things.
See something funny? Go to this camera view.
Oh yeah.
Does it have horns behind me?
Yes. Because you're when you lean over like this.
Yeah, you were leaned over when you were talking passionately.
when you do that right there.
Yeah, when I look at you.
Right.
Classic.
I'll move that to the back wall. I just haven't had a chance to. Juan was right. I will just say, Juan told me to do that from the get-go, and I said no.
I could just have antlers.
And
maybe I just have antlers.
Once again, Juan was right.
Mucho
right. Grande. Mucho grande right.
Muy mucho grande.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. We're going to be talking about gratitude this evening. Talking about not generosity.
Not generosity. Even though
gratitude.
that one's good too.
That one is a good one. But we're going to talk about gratitude.
They, in fact, go hand in hand.
Oh, they do.
One begets the other.
I like that. Yes.
They beget each other.
Yes. I agree with you.
So yes, we're talking about gratitude. We have done an episode on gratitude before, but it was back in the day. It was in the early days when we just figured it's time.
It's good to rehash.
I just kind of feel like in my own self, there's a lot going on in the world lately, that it's good in times that, like maybe if there's stressful times, to center yourself and remind yourself, remember that we have so mumuch to be thankful for.
Yeah, a lot of times whenever I feel overwhelmed, I have anxiety, or I feel down, thanks be to God, I don't have like clinical depression or anything like that. But sometimes as a human, you get depressed, or you feel down in the dumps, or you have all these kind of just bummer feelings.
Sure.
And
natural desolation.
Right, and it just feels like nothing is good, right? Like it just blah, that's how you feel.
Yeah.
And I have learned, and I probably learned this from a lot of different people. I think one of them includes Father Brian O'Brien. He does this really well as far as making people feel good. But like when I feel depressed or anxiety-ridden or something, I intentionally focus my attitude on serving others.
That's good.
Because what happens is it gets you off that point of I'm not feeling good. This is bad. I'm not like my life isn't very good. And so when you intentionally make this shift into serving others, then your feelings become overwhelmed with other people have a sense of gratitude. You have a sense of accomplishment. You feel like I'm helping other people. I'm doing something good in society. I can close my eyes tonight and say I did something. I helped this person, and it just helps me get out of a funk. So
totally.
Whenever I feel down or whatever,
which is hard to do.
It's hard
when you get in a funk.
You have to train. Like I have to That's why I said be intentional about it. Like it's not something that I want to do. I don't want to do it.
Right.
Because I want to fight it.
It's hard. It's like,
but
this last Sunday in the morning, for some reason, I don't even know why, I was just kind of in a bad mood, as if I felt as if someone owed me, someone had offended me, or someone had wronged me in some way, and I had no idea why I felt that way.
Sure.
No one had done anything to me. I was just making pancakes, right? And it wasn't until I got back from Mass that I finally was able to
kick it.
Yeah, I think it just took several hours before I could shake it off. But yeah, and I was trying to do that. It's like, no, I'm going to be joyful. I'm going to be.
I think joyful is tough. I don't even think you strive to be joyful.
Sometimes there are things you fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. But I think that
putting on a joyful face, deciding to respond in a cheerful way, even when you don't feel cheerful, is
good. But
it's not a lie. You know what I mean?
Right. But I just wouldn't focus on I want to be joyful, because a lot of times it also will come off as inauthentic to the person that you're trying to be joyful to, and they can read into that and say listen, dude, what's wrong with you?
Well, that's okay.
But
it's better.
Just serve. Just focus on serving.
Right. But even if you're serving, you still need to do it cheerfully.
I think that it's better to do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, you can be serving, but if you're serving with a grumpy attitude, and
but I think that by the time you start serving, you end up not being grumpy. Most of the time,
maybe. I mean,
at least I'm talking about for me. This is
right.
Not,
if that works, that's good. But the thing is, if it doesn't work, you have to put on a cheerful face, right?
Sure. Okay.
So I was really thinking about gratitude. What kind of started me thinking about it was we did that episode on peace, recently, and so it's gratitude that really, I think, is the mother of peace. By being grateful, you will have peace. If you realize that I have been given all these things, that's a way of helping detach yourself from them. That everything is a gift. And so that's kind of what started me thinking on this. And as I was pondering this, I realized that gratitude is a virtue by which we orient our minds and ground them in reality. Gratitude grounds us in reality because it is the only correct way to feel. If you take the person who has the worst life story in all of history, who has they have the most tragic story. Even they have nothing but to be thankful for everything. Okay? Because we are given life as a sheer gift. Everything that happens to us in life is a sheer gift. We might, caveat, obviously we make bad decisions that, actions have consequences, right? So sometimes that's the way it is, but that in itself is a gift. The fact that God has made life so that if you make a bad choice, you get a bad consequence.
So that you can...
What a gift that you might be more oriented towards reality.
Sure.
Because God is reality. I mean, this is one thing that we kind of learned in the 5 ways. God is existence. So we know this as Catholics, that if our life isn't oriented towards Him, it's oriented towards a non-reality, a make-believe. So if you are not grounded in gratitude, then you're not oriented towards the truth, and you're oriented towards, and that's when we start to get, feeling like, oh, someone owes me something, I'm entitled. Those things are make-believe. They're not real. You're not entitled to anything.
Right.
Except God's mercy, because He has given you that entitlement.
Yeah.
He said that the greater the sinner, the more the right they have to my mercy. You're not entitled that by nature. He has simply given you that right because He loves you. You know what I mean? So gratitude is the truth. And so I
just wanted to,
yeah.
So here's something that I was thinking about today. I was thinking about because you told me this, we're going to talk about gratitude, and I was thinking okay, well, what can I think about? We just went to Clear Creek recently on a retreat, and I was trying to think about the things that happened at the retreat and kind of connect some dots. And so what I thought was a grateful man is a contemplative man, because until you are willing to sacrifice and crucify your pride to the cross, to understand that you are a created and there is a creator.
Yeah.
Until you are willing to say, not only am I a created being, but I have a need for communion with others, not only in communion with the one who created me, but also the ones that are here on earth. That until you understand that you have that your wife plays or your spouse plays a necessary role in your salvation to grow in holiness, that your holy friendships play a necessary role in your growth in holiness, and that you aren't the one that it is the center of the universe, that you aren't the one that is making everything happen.
Right.
Until you can stop and have real contemplation about the reality of what is actually happening, that God is making everything happen around you, and the only reason why you are around is that you are cooperating in His grace.
Yeah.
And that you
He's constantly holding you there.
And that you strive so much to be in communion with Him, and He loves you so much that He sent His only Son, our Lord Jesus, to die for us, and He founded a church, that there's no salvation outside of the church, so that we can be in communion with Him for everlasting life.
Right.
Our end is to be in communion with Him. And it is nothing but cooperating with His grace that we can get there. It is nothing that I can do personally. other than cooperate with what he gives us.
Mm-hmm.
And until, as men, we sacrifice our pride and steep in this humility that is a virtue, and contemplate this idea of we are not the ones that are making things happen, you can't be grateful, because you can't understand that our Lord loves us so much that he died for us, and that not only that he died for us, but he rose again from the dead, and then he founded a church so that we can have salvation with him, so we can be in communion with him, and we are striving to get everybody around us to be in communion with him, to be with him forever in all of eternity.
Right.
And so if that doesn't give you goosebumps, understanding that idea, if that doesn't make you grateful, then I don't then you don't have a pulse. Like, I don't understand how, like, where you are mentally, because there's no greater love than somebody laying down their life for you.
Right.
And so I was just thinking about, like, the contemplative life and the importance of having silence and the importance of having a true prayer life in order to fuel this gratitude that this life of gratitude that we're called to live.
Sure.
I think that it's very hard at least for me, a lot of times, because I have so many things in my life, within work, within the things that we do in our lives, that you think, I'm in control. I have to make sure that everything is okay. I have to fix any problems that happen within my life. That you start thinking that I'm the one who's doing all this stuff.
Yeah. And
that is something that is nerve-wracking, I think, that can fall into deep sin and deep pride and that's like kind of like where the devil wants you to be.
Sure. Yeah, I think gratitude is intimately linked with humility.
Because you're outside.
It's one of those things where you're seeing yourself rightly. And when you can be humble, then you can be grateful, because so you need humility for all the virtues, really. Sure. But we'll talk about this more on the other side of the break.
Cool.
We're on the Lord's team,
the winning side.
So raise your glass. You guys really don't like cough syrup? Like, when you drink cough syrup, you don't say, like, that is delicious.
No. I can give it to you.
It's like crushingly low. That whiskey, though, is more. There's more of that whiskey than there is pie at my house, though, I will say.
Really?
Yeah. We are low on pie. Crushingly low on pie.
I've been trying to find more of it. More of that whiskey.
Me too.
Your dad bought, like, I think the last one over there.
Oh, he did. He told me he bought some.
Yeah.
But he's on Exodus 90. He hadn't even opened it yet.
Oh, he hasn't? I thought he was going to do it on last Sunday. I was talking to him.
No, he didn't.
Probably get it.
He
did sweets.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's
a sweet guy.
Right. He and I are similar.
But don't you think that, like, the contemplative life, like, it is, like...
I think that the contemplative life magnifies your opportunity for gratitude, because it's without being contemplative, you don't have time to ponder the mystery and depth of the pointlessness of your existence without God,
or just like reality in general. You don't have the opportunity to contemplate reality.
I don't think it's necessary for gratitude per se. For the perfection of gratitude, I think that it would be necessary.
I think, though, even if it is, well, we'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Have we mentioned Patreon?
We did.
Yes.
Don't forget selecting international.
Yes.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan. We got Juan Posada on the buttons, Jim Spencer guarding the door. This segment brought to you by Select International Tours. SelectInternationalTours.com is their website. Right now, they are having a sale. $500 off per couple if you book a pilgrimage between now and, what's the date? Can you scroll down there, Juan? I think it says...
Yeah, between now and
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, but you can take the pilgrimage.
You don't have to go on the pilgrimage, but if you book it between those times, you'll get $500 off for you and your spouse to go.
There's a link on our show notes that you can use as well.
These guys have been really great to us, so check them out.
Yes,
go check them out. So we're talking about gratitude. Gratitude is the sub-virtue of justice. And I mentioned between segments earlier that when I was refreshing my mind on the notes for today, I accidentally looked up generosity. And I remember thinking, like, generosity is a sub-virtue of justice? I don't think it is. Otherwise, it wouldn't be generous if you give what you're required to give. I mean, that's just, like giving someone what's their due, that's justice. Giving something beyond what's their due, that's generous. And so I was like thinking about that for a while. Like, how did I? Anyway, it was just funny. That's why, because we're talking about the totally opposite thing here. So gratitude is a sub-virtue of justice. It's that if someone is generous to you, and you do not exemplify in that moment the virtue of gratitude, that is a lack of virtue on your part, because there is something owed for that. I
think Aquinas talks about how it's a deficiency in gratitude, which ends up being a vice. Mm-hmm. And he talks about in the Summa, he talks about whether or not it is a sin to have ingratitude.
Oh, yes.
And it is. It's a specific type of sin, but he says something in there that I thought was really interesting, and it like really kind of hit me right in the mouth. He says, in every sin, there is material ingratitude to God.
Indeed.
Right. Which is like, wow, that is, if you really think about it.
Yeah, because you're rejecting his gift. He is being constantly generous, and you're saying, yeah, no thanks.
Not your will be done, but my will be done.
I'm going to choose this lesser good,
right,
or even an
evil.
Even an evil. But sin could just be choosing lesser goods over higher goods, like failures of temperance. Mm-hmm. Candy is good, but when you choose it over better things, that would be sinful. So I came across this blog,
but that's
good.
Profound.
I know. I like those things that are so simply profound. Mm-hmm. This is a blog by Father Romano Guardini. It's from The Catholic Thing.
He's a Dominican. He has a great book on virtues.
Yeah. Well, I thought his blog was very good. He gave 3 points about gratitude.
Okay.
That are kind of the same thing, like so plainly profound. It's like, yeah, of course. The first one is that you can only express gratitude towards another person. Okay, so we don't express gratitude towards corporations or a board or the sun, or like we might feel. He says, we might feel gratitude when we're looking at a beautiful sunset, but we're feeling gratitude towards the maker of the sun, not towards the sun itself. Mm-hmm. So gratitude is always interpersonal, okay, which is different from some other virtues, like temperance, for instance.
Which is why I made such a point last break, before the last break, on community, on the importance of community, not only community with the Trinity, which is a communion, but also a community with the body of Christ, the people around you, and the saints in heaven.
Sure. Yeah.
And the importance of it.
Yeah. Because there are some virtues that are like this, where they're interpersonal virtues. The next point he says is that gratitude can only be had in the realm of freedom.
Right. It's like love. It's the same thing as love.
Yes.
Love can only be happening
in the same way. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So when one. We have a contract, you're supposed to deliver something to me.
Ooh, let's get Scott Hahn with it.
Right.
Contracts and covenants.
Right, exactly. I don't feel gratitude because you have done what you were supposed to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not what gratitude is. You don't feel grateful to the sun for rising because it has no freedom. It has no choice but to rise. Okay? We don't feel gratitude for something for which we have a rightful claim to. If someone delivers something to you that way, and it's not politeness. we might say, if like, you know, when the Amazon person delivers something you ordered, oh, thank you. You know, but that's just politeness. You're not like really feeling gratitude towards them. You might be thanking them, but that's their job. They're being paid by the money that I paid to Amazon, you know, to purchase the thing, right? So like I've paid for this service. So there's no need of gratitude. You can't exercise gratitude here because there's no freedom involved. You see what I'm saying? He goes into it better in the article. But also the final point that he makes, which I thought was good, which is something that I don't think we often talk about in the virtue of gratitude, is that, to put it in my own words, his point in my own words, is that gratitude can be polluted by the giver. Okay, so if we
expand on that,
if you give for less than pure motives, like out of a sense of superiority, or I just want to make myself look good, or I actually want it to demean you, the receiver, or it just out of even indifference, like whatever, yeah, oh, you can have it, whatever, you know, then if it's not given intentionally, you know, and for instance, if you have so much money that you just don't care, it's like, yeah, here's $100, you can have $1,000, whatever. Then that doesn't inspire gratitude because you obviously don't care about the $1,000. This is not costing you anything. Gratitude is in its purest form when the giver is exercising generosity, whereas there is a cost for their giving.
This sounds like charity.
Well, the virtues are charity.
Like, I mean, this sounds like, yeah, but like true charity, like is giving to the point where you know, where it hurts and you keep going.
Charity is not giving. Charity is love. So charity is not just give. I mean, giving things out of love is charitable, but charity is not giving.
Not give it like material. That's not what I was meaning.
Yeah.
So that's a good distinction.
Yeah, but we do talk about giving to charity, right? Yeah, I mean that is, you know, the word. So anyway, if you give out of indifference even, then it pollutes the opportunity for gratitude. I mean, if someone just kind of gives something to like, yeah, whatever, you can have it, whatever you want, you just think, oh, okay, cool. You might be happy to get it, you know, but you're not inspired with gratitude at the giver. So I think that's something for us when we give things, that's something we need to be intentional about, because sometimes I think that there's a tendency to, if something is a sacrifice for you to do, you want to try to hide that from the other person because you might embarrass them, you know. And there is some, you know, like, oh, you know, there's some manners, or, you know, like,
there's validity to that,
right? Yeah, that's you don't want to embarrass the person you're giving something to, but at the same time, you're not doing any favors by lying about it or being deceptive, you know, because they might also not appreciate the thing that you've given them. You know, you're, in the grand scheme of things, giving the receiver an opportunity for less virtue. Okay? And I just thought it was a really good point that he made about contemplating the other side of gratitude. We would call it generosity, but that gratitude has a prerequisite of that the thing be given in good faith.
By the virtue of magnificence, even.
Right. Magnificence, yes. Right. I was thinking about that today when I was looking at generosity. I was like, yeah, this is like magnificence. Which is just not what we're talking about today.
Right.
So, you know, when we are giving, make sure that we're giving on purpose, giving the right amount of things to the right amount to the right things. So this is like where generosity kind of come into play. You realize you can't have gratitude without generosity.
I think that goes back to also like just having an abundance of things. In this day and age, we have just so many things, right? I like, how did all these toys get in here? How did I all of a sudden have all these clothes? How did I all of a sudden have all these, whatever it is?
Right. How did I get so many Maseratis?
Yeah.
Where'd they all come from?
I can't, like, all these boats are getting ridiculous.
Right.
But because we live in abundance, it's harder to exercise the virtue of gratitude because you take it. It's like human nature to take things for granted once you already have it, right? You know, how many times when I first got out of college and I was like, my first job I was making like $30,000 a year, and I was like, man, if I
so much money,
if I could only like. I couldn't even imagine having $45,000 a year.
Right.
You know, that is just like crazy. And then it's like, once you get there, then it's the same. I was talking to a realtor who's.
You don't ever feel like you have any more money than you used to.
Right.
Yeah.
I was talking to a realtor who's a Catholic realtor when I bought my first home, and she said, you know, everybody who's in the market for a home, they say like, here's my budget, but I just wish I had $10,000 more to buy this other house.
Right.
And it doesn't matter
you're never content with what you have.
With what you have, and
which would be gratitude.
Which would be gratitude.
Being content with what you have.
Yeah. And so I thought that was just a profound insight because I was thinking like, if I just had $10,000 more, I could buy this home. And she goes, you're always going to think that.
Yeah. If I give you $10,000, well, you'll be looking at bigger houses.
Bigger houses, yeah. So anyway, we'll continue this on the podcast and YouTube. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
I thought that was a profound point, though, and it's spot on. Like, how many times do we do that, right? It's like, oh, if I just had $10,000 more, I could buy this truck or this car or.
Yeah, I've done that.
I've
been through that cycle of thoughts.
Right.
Sure.
And the thing is you just aren't grateful for what you have.
Yeah. You know what I'm thankful for is being a farmer, because I have chickens now.
I thought we were gonna get through this whole episode without you talking about being a farmer.
I'm surprised I made it this. I'm surprised I didn't get it in the show proper.
I'm actually kind of excited you didn't.
12 minutes proper. But I just want everyone to know that I'm a farmer. I have 2 chickens. I have livestock. I'm officially a farmer.
It's legal. It's legal in our neighborhood. Yeah.
I think we've collected 5 eggs in the last few days. So
nice.
Yeah, dude. It's the life of abundance over there.
It's the burden of abundance.
Do you know what I found out about chickens? They eat your weeds. These chickens have been walking around my yard. I watched them for like an hour today, cheering them on, walking around the yard, eating the weeds. It was incredible. I was thinking, I got chickens years ago. You know,
man, we're gonna have to get some chickens,
dude. We gotta get even if
I'll build like a hen house. Is it a hen house? What do you call those?
Coop.
Okay.
Not without coops, bro.
Not without coops. But no rooster.
Yeah, I mean, it depends.
I don't want that thing waking me up.
Right. Oh yeah. I was wondering that, like, can you have a neutered rooster that has its like vocal cords?
I'm not really interested in having chickens anyway, like baby chicks. I just want the eggs.
Right.
Unfertilized eggs.
Even if they are fertilized, you can, if you put them in the fridge, when like you go out every day and look, if you put them in the fridge, you will have they're exactly the same.
Interesting.
You have no idea.
So we have a question from a live Facebook audience.
Ooh, is it about chickens?
No.
Okay, go ahead. Yes. Keegan Clark. Question: as a man preparing for marriage, how can I lead my future family to be grateful to the Lord?
Great question. That's a great question. I would say, and you'll, first of all, congratulations, Keegan. God bless you in your upcoming nuptials. I remember being engaged, and it was just, I look back on the time of engagement very fondly. I really enjoyed being engaged. Not at the time.
Right.
At the time,
I want to get married.
It was exciting at the time, right? Because, like, I'm engaged. I'm getting married, right? But it was also, like...
That's a good question, Keegan.
But you will come to learn that there are many things that you just do and lead by example. And even though it's, kind of cliche and, like, people want sometimes a silver bullet, a life hack to do something. When you say things in front of your children, especially, especially this is especially true for your children, but it's true for your wife. When she hears you saying thank God for something, especially in moments of difficulty, when they see that you've had a hard day, when that things have been rough. And in those moments, you can still out loud be grateful. Those are going to be profound moments. I think, like, especially with kids, I'm just thinking about my own childhood. There are moments that define often your fatherhood, and it's important that we're ready for them and that we get them right. Because there were just things when that moment that I'm sure everybody can think back on. Wow, I do remember my dad or my mom did this one time and it really impacted me. But think about how different you'd be if they didn't do that in that moment. You know what I mean? So leading the family often comes down to being ready for that moment when it comes. And that's the thing about virtue. It's a habit. And so if you work at the virtues and you work to get them and you practice them, then when that moment comes, you'll do the thing effortlessly. So that's just one thing. What do you think, Adam?
The only thing that I would add to that, I think you're spot on, but the only thing I would add to that is language is important, and using language in your prayer life is very important. So when we have family prayer, I start every prayer out when we're doing prayers that like are kind of off the cuff, so to speak. I start every prayer with our family in Lord, we come to you today in thanksgiving for all the many blessings and gifts that you've bestowed upon our family. That is like how I start our prayer every day. Mm-hmm. And so like that just kind of sets the precedence of like understanding like the first thing we're doing to like coming to God is in thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Words have meanings, and as you develop these, especially with your kids, they will replicate what you do in prayer. I just know that from experience, right? I will say a prayer, and then so I have this little book that I carry around for Holy Mass. I keep it in my suit pocket, and it's a maroon book that says prayers and has all these different types of prayers in there. Luke saw that I was praying out of this book after Mass because it has like St. Thomas Aquinas' prayers before and after Mass. If you haven't read those, dude, they're just
killer, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, it is amazing.
Yeah.
So that's what I pray before Mass and then after Mass.
Nice.
And Luke saw that, and we were in the Catholic book and gift store, and he goes, "Dad, here's the book." And it's like it wasn't the same exact one, but it was a miniature one, same color, same font. And it's like, yes, I'll get that for you. And then he said, "No, I want I want a jacket that has a pocket in it."
Yeah.
And so we had to go find a jacket that had like a suit jacket that had a pocket in it because
that's what you do.
Because that's what I do. And so I just know that kids replicate what you do. Whatever you do, they replicate you.
That's what I meant by like leading by example, right?
Right. Yeah. And so that's a long-winded of saying though, you set the precedence by starting out with, Lord, we come to you today. I'm not asking you for things. I'm not, which is not a bad thing, but I'm starting out the prayer in thanksgiving for all the many gifts and blessings that you've bestowed upon my family today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
that just kind of sets the bar, and we should be thankful for everything that we have.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope that I do. That I hope that that's what works in our prayer life. That's what I would suggest. I think that yours is. I think
another thing that you could do is get some chickens, and then that would allow you to pray in thanksgiving for the chickens. Lord, thank you for these chickens.
Do we have other questions? You can ask questions on YouTube now. We're YouTube Live
or
Facebook.
If you're watching it live, you can ask a question.
I actually enjoy the questions.
I do too,
because it's fun to have a kind of conversation.
A little bit of feedback. Oh, I deleted the Facebook app off my phone, so I can't even do that anymore.
Yeah, but
you know what? That's the first moment that I've said, "Oh man, I don't have Facebook on my phone anymore."
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's been like 3 weeks.
If they distribute in Oklahoma, you should try Cody Rhodes bourbon. Steven, if you may not be listening anymore, we actually have had Cody Rhodes bourbon. He sent us some, and it is delicious. So,
mucho.
I don't remember what episode it was, but Somebody gave an angry face.
Who is it?
On
I
Facebook.
want to know. Will it tell you?
Yeah, that person. I don't know. Anyway.
Should we invoke their name?
No, let's not do that.
I'm just kidding.
Okay,
Obviously, we're
cool.
not gonna
Well,
do
I think that's good. Juan, where are we at time-wise?
Oh, that's plenty. We're plenty of time.
58? Okay, yeah, we can cut it off. Thank you guys for tuning in.
We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers.
And cheers to Jesus.